Don, President of Mass Youth Soccer, and I'm calling to order the 2026 Annual General Meeting, or AGM, at 7:01 p.m. on this Sunday evening, March 15, 2026. We are so pleased that so many of you have joined us this evening for a review of a very eventful 2025 and a peek at our plans for 2026 and beyond. Your continuing involvement and engagement is what helps our organization remain the preeminent youth soccer state association in the U.S. Today's AGM is being held in remote format on the Zoom webinar platform. And as Rob mentioned, please note that this meeting is being recorded. To keep things from spiraling wildly out of control, the audio function is being controlled and limited by the meeting organizers to avoid disturbing background noise and unmanageable participant audio. But all meeting participants are invited to submit questions and comments during the meeting through the use of the Q&A function located at the bottom of your screen. Staff members will monitor the Q&A function throughout the meeting and pass along questions to the presenters. If your specific question is not addressed during the discussions, please don't take it personally. It could be because the meeting hosts want to reserve the right to address certain questions in an offline discussion, or perhaps your specific question was combined with others on the same topic. In any case, if you believe that your question was not adequately addressed, please email us and the Mass Youth Soccer staff will follow up. Also, as Rob mentioned, we will be utilizing the Nemo Vote app as our voting app today, and there will be more on that shortly. If you haven't downloaded the annual program reports, financial reports, and other presentation materials for this meeting previously, they are available on the Mass Youth Soccer website on the AGM page, and the URL for that is on your screen. Also, all virtual attendees were asked to make changes to the name section of your webinar link, so please list your organization name first and your name second. And again, full disclosure, today's meeting is being recorded. So a few housekeeping items while we await our credentials report. These next two slides will simply lay out for you the topics and the order of business for today's AGM. We'll leave each slide up for about 10 seconds, and I won't bother reading the bullet points, and there really isn't any further commentary on this necessary. As you just saw, we have a lot on today's agenda, but before we get going, let's all take a moment to remember those in our Mass Youth Soccer community who we lost during the past year, some of whom we've listed here. And while they may have passed, we will not forget them, nor will we forget their many contributions to our association and our sport. So please join me for a moment of silence as we remember and honor the friends and members of our soccer family who left us during this past year. Thank you. Now I'd like to turn things over to Jamie Balboni, our Marketing and Communications Manager, who will briefly run through the Nemo Vote process we'll be using tonight. Jamie.
Thank you, David. Good evening, everyone. Please now open the Nemo Vote application. One thing to note is please do not change your display name within the Nemo Vote application. Leave it as is. This is very important. I'll be opening a test vote shortly. Once the vote opens, we'll keep it open for 45 seconds to allow everyone time to submit their response. I will now open the vote to establish a quorum. The vote is now open. I'll give a countdown from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the vote is now closed.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Before we dive into our agenda, I'd like to take a few moments to recognize some of the members of our statewide leadership, many of whom are attending our meeting tonight. Our board of directors meets monthly throughout the year to hear reports from our state office staff and to monitor progress on our various strategic initiatives. We are so fortunate to have this amazing collection of talents and experience guiding us in serving our youth soccer community. These valued veterans collectively represent decades of service and dedication to Mass Youth Soccer. Each of them provides our board with an invaluable link to the past that helps inform our current decision-making. They truly make us better. Our competitive leagues are unique in the national youth soccer landscape. They are led by some of the best operators and strategists in the Mass Youth Soccer family. Collectively, these leaders devote untold hours to registration matters, scheduling, administering league rules and procedures, and of course, running our flagship event, the Mass Tournament of Champions, or MTOC. And our programs and matches can't happen without a robust officiating function. And we're so fortunate to have the MSRC now being led by our former SYRA, Ellie Nassif. He and the rest of the committee ensure that we have plenty of well-trained and enthusiastic referees. And we're equally blessed that our former board member, Jeff Chambers, has moved into the SYRA role, where I know he will do great things driving youth and grassroots referee development. And a nod also to our colleagues on the adult side at Mass Adult Soccer. Our players do eventually grow up and age out. The team at Mass Adult have built some wonderful options for our graduates to continue a lifetime of playing the beautiful game. Last and certainly not least, our state office staff are the true superstars behind our success, performing all of the planning and back office tasks necessary for the seamless running of all our programs, from registration to player and participant safety to programs like Top Soccer, ODP, and districts, to coach development and training. They do make us who Mass Youth Soccer is. And I'd like to extend a special welcome to the newest additions to our fast-growing staff. Nicole Arsenault, who's filling vital roles as an assistant technical director and heading up our ODP program. Craig Stone, another new assistant TD, who's also playing an important part as the newly minted head of our districts program. Melissa Dempsey, who as our risk management administrator keeps those trains running on time. And finally, Aiden Medeiros, who's hit the ground running on community outreach and as our brand new Soccer in Schools coordinator. So once again, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the board of directors, thank you for being here. Your commitment to this organization is what makes us strong. Before we move into the formal business of the day, I want to take a moment to recognize and thank two remarkable individuals who are stepping down from our board tonight after years of dedicated service. Janet Gargan has been the architect of a thriving futsal program that has grown into one of the most robust in the region, opening doors for players to develop technical skills year-round and fall in love with the beautiful game in a whole new way. Jeff Chambers has been a driving force in grassroots referee development across our state. His tireless commitment to recruiting, training, and mentoring officials at every level has made our game better and fairer for thousands of young players. Jeff and Janet, on behalf of the entire association, thank you. Your legacies are woven into the fabric of Mass Youth Soccer, and we are deeply grateful for everything you have given to this organization and to our players. And I'm thrilled to report that they're not going very far. They will both still stay very involved in much of what we do. So I want to take a few moments now and speak about where we are, where we're headed, and why I believe the future of youth soccer in Massachusetts has never looked brighter. This past year was one of meaningful progress, leaving the current state of our association great and growing in so many ways. Our membership continued to grow. This year, 1 in 8 children in Massachusetts are playing soccer in our programs. This is a testament to the incredible work of our member clubs and town organizations, our affiliated leagues, and all of our coaches and volunteers across the Commonwealth. From the Cape to the Berkshires, young soccer players are on the pitch, developing skills, making friends, and learning lessons that last a lifetime. From our treasurer's report later on in tonight's program, you'll see that we have greatly strengthened our financial footing. Our reinvigorated MSRC is overseeing continuing expansion of our referee development pipeline. And our leadership team have deepened our partnerships with U.S. Soccer and U.S. Youth Soccer at the national level. These are not small things. They are the foundation on which everything else is built. In just a bit, Rob will provide a more fulsome report on this past year's developments and successes. But I want to mention just a couple of things up front, which to me are especially noteworthy. We participated last year in the successful launch of the Massachusetts Soccer Foundation. Under the leadership of Sean Nabelli, Karen Goulet, and John Cunningham, the foundation is poised to begin raising funds and executing on its mission of strengthening the power of soccer as a force for good in communities across Massachusetts. Also, our state office staff's leadership, under their direction, we assisted in the launch of the Boston Soccer League, the first ever Mass Youth Soccer affiliated league focused on providing low barrier soccer opportunities that unite neighborhoods, foster inclusivity, and develop players, coaches, and referees. All this while creating a strong community foundation and a model for urban soccer development. As we look to the coming years, our board has aligned around priorities that will guide our investments and inform our decisions. First, player development. We are committed to giving every young player in Massachusetts access to a high-quality development experience, regardless of geography, background, or ability to pay. We are expanding our grassroots programming. We're investing in coach education, and we're working to ensure that the pathway from recreational play to competitive soccer is both clear and accessible. Second, equity and belonging. Soccer belongs to everyone. We are actively working to make our game more inclusive through targeted outreach, scholarship programs, and a continued focus on creating environments where every child feels welcome, safe, and valued. Third, referee and volunteer pipeline. The health of our sport depends on having enough trained, supported, and retained officials and volunteers. This is an area of genuine urgency for us, and we are taking concrete steps to recruit, develop, and retain the people who keep the game running. Finally, organizational excellence. We owe it to our member clubs, town organizations, affiliated leagues, and the families that they serve to run this association with transparency, efficiency, and accountability. That means continued investment in technology, governance, and the staff who support everything that we do. I also want to speak directly to something that should energize every person on this call tonight. We are entering, or maybe have entered, a golden decade for the beautiful game, which promises to be the most extraordinary stretch in the history of soccer in this country, and Massachusetts is right in the middle of it. This summer, in less than 100 days, the FIFA World Cup comes to the United States, co-hosted with Canada and Mexico, and Boston is one of just 11 American host cities. Right here at Gillette Stadium, which will be called Boston Stadium, the world's greatest players will compete in 7 matches, including a quarterfinal. Hundreds of thousands of visitors from around the globe will descend on our region. The eyes of the world will be on Massachusetts. Then in 2028, the Olympic Games come to Los Angeles, with soccer once again on the program, both men's and women's. And in 2031, the FIFA Women's World Cup returns to the United States for the first time since 2003, and now expanded to 48 nations, with Boston among the cities that has expressed interest in hosting. This is not just background noise. This is generational opportunity. When a World Cup match is played 30 miles from where our kids are training, it changes something. It makes the game feel real, achievable, and aspirational in a way that no coaching manual or YouTube highlight can replicate. Our job, the job of this association, is to make sure that Massachusetts youth players don't just watch these moments from the stands. We want them to be inspired by them, shaped by them, and one day competing because of them. That means investing now in the infrastructure, the coaching, and the access that will allow the next generation of players to reach their potential. We are already in conversations about how to leverage the World Cup's presence in Boston, from youth clinics and school programs to coach education and further community outreach. This is a tide that can lift all boats, and we intend to ride it. But these events alone don't define success. What will define success is how we use this moment collectively to grow participation, deepen connection to the sport we all love, and leave a lasting impact across the entire Commonwealth. I want to be direct with you about something else. The road ahead and the work we face is not without its challenges. Rising costs, competitive pressures on families' time and budgets, and a national conversation about what youth sports should look like. These are real headwinds, and we do not take them lightly. But I remain genuinely optimistic because what I see across this state is a community of people who are deeply invested in getting this right for the kids, for the families, and for the sport. And I am honored to serve alongside all of you in that work. Closing out my remarks, thank you again to the board, our staff, and to every club, town, organization, and league leader, every coach, every referee, and every volunteer who showed up this past year. You all are the reason Mass Youth Soccer exists and the reason it thrives. I look forward to a productive meeting tonight. The board, staff, and I are always happy to hear from you and take any questions you may have, so please reach out, and thank you. I'd like to turn things over now to our Executive Director, Rob Holliday, who will deliver the credentials report for tonight's meeting. Excuse me, Rob.
Thank you, David. Firstly, confirming that we do have a quorum. We had in our test vote 38 voting delegates and a total voting weight of 113. Please bear in mind that due to the way that Nemo Vote works, there may be more than 38 delegates on any given vote, just based on the timing of people logging in. There is a supermajority required for constitutional amendments. So based off of the total voting weight of 113, that would be 75 votes for. Again, the percentages will be shown in the results on Nemo Vote immediately after the closing of the vote as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Copy of the minutes from last year's AGM are included with the meeting materials on the Mass Youth Soccer website and on the AGM page. Again, the URL for those materials is on your screen. We have received no comments or corrections ahead of the meeting. Are there any from the meeting attendees? If so, please use the Q&A function, and I'll pause for a moment to see if anyone wants to post something. Hearing none, we will consider these minutes as presented, approved by general consent. And luckily, we have no unfinished business carried over from last year's AGM, so we can move on. I'm happy now to turn things over to our treasurer, Thomas Ringler, for his presentation on our 2025 financial results and our fiscal 2026 business plan and budget, again, available on the Mass Youth Soccer website on the AGM page. Thomas, over to you.
Thank you, David. Good evening, everyone. In the first part of my presentation, I will walk you through the actuals and compare this to our previous fiscal year. And then in the second part of the presentation, I will walk you through our budget for this coming fiscal year. So starting with the actuals, we ended up at 8.2 million in revenue for our fiscal year through the end of October 2025. That was an increase of 0.9 million to previous fiscal year of 7.3 million. It is important to note that in the last 2 years, our investment gains on our investment funds, mainly driven by an exceptionally good stock market performance for all of us, was somewhat inflated. This gave us a boost. But I really, to compare or to really look at our core activities, it is more useful to look at the blue boxes. So excluding the investment gains, our revenue were 7.1 million versus 6.8 million the previous year. As David mentioned that earlier, our membership number grew a little bit. our program grew a little bit, and also our fundraising and grant receiving increased year over year. Next page, please. On this page, you can see our development of our expenses year over year. We spent 5.2 million in the fiscal year ending October 2025. That is an increase of $300,000 to previous fiscal year of 4.9 million spent, which was absolutely in line with business plan. Actually, as a matter of fact, our business plan assumed a 5.4 million expenses, so we actually were able to stay below our business plan for last year. Next slide, please. Our operating profit for this fiscal year was 3 million, which is an increase to previous fiscal year of 2.4 million. But again, it is important really to look at the blue boxes that represents more our activities. And here, our operating income, excluding investment gains, was 2 million in this fiscal year compared to 1.9 million previous fiscal year. Next slide, please. Now I will walk you through our proposed budget for the upcoming fiscal year. We are budgeting revenue of 6.2 million for the fiscal year ending this year in October 2026, which is a fairly steep decline to our actuals of 8.2 million. But really a comparable number is again a 7.1 million revenue, which excludes the investment gains. And we typically plan very conservatively membership numbers, fundraising efforts, and that's really reflect in a very conservative business plan. Next slide, please. Here you can see how we budget our expenses for this fiscal year ending October 2026. There is a bit of an increase to the fiscal year or the fiscal year we just ended of almost 700,000. This is driven to one part with the investment or purchase of the land and the investment into Lightning. We increased our interest expenses on the financing of these purchases. As well, we have a provision for the World Cup in our state association that is also driving our expenses a little bit up. Again, 5.9 million is our budget, and this is where we will be measured again, and we'll trying to stay certainly within that budget or even like in previous years, stay below the budget. Next slide. So we budget an operating profit of 0.4 million. That is a steep decline to our fiscal year we just ended of 3 million. Again, a really comparable number is excluding our investment gains, where we ended at 2 million in last fiscal year. It's dropped down to 0.4 million for the budget. Again, that's really driven based on a very conservative budgeting on our revenue side. But what's more important, a 0.4 million operating profit gives us the covenant, or we are within the covenant with our loan, and that's really what we are targeting. That concludes now my presentation. I want to point out that we issued a treasury report where you can see a lot more detailed information, actuals and budget. I want to thank very much Tara, our finance director, who again, with her due diligence, walked us through the audit. Our auditors again gave us a pass, and you can also see the opinion in the treasury report. and it states that our books are in very good order.
Thank you, Thomas. The annual program reports for this meeting are part of the materials available on the Mass Youth Soccer website on the AGM page. Again, the link's on the screen in front of you. We are not going to have detailed presentations from the program leads today. The programs and reports themselves speak for themselves. But Rob will touch on some key developments and accomplishments later across all of our programs in his report. As I mentioned earlier, we have a brand new SYRA who's far from brand new to Mass Youth Soccer. Jeff Chambers has submitted his report for this meeting, again available with the AGM materials on our website. Before turning things over to Jeff for his brief presentation on the state of our youth referee program, though, I'd like to thank the entire MSRC community for their dedication and great work. And a special thanks to Ellie Nassif, who's now been kicked upstairs to the state referee administrator role, for all of the great work he did as our now former SYRA. Jeff, over to you.
Thank you, David. Good evening, everyone. I'll just add my thanks not only for your time tonight, but even especially for all that you do for youth soccer in Massachusetts throughout the year. As David mentioned, there's a comprehensive written report covering the Mass State Referee Committee's 2025 activities that it's in the AGM report packet posted on the website. So I'm not going to read that to you or go through that, but I will speak briefly to what's going on in 2026 and where we hope to be going the rest of the year. As of this week, we have almost 2,500 referees certified for 2026, and with another 1,700 in process. That still leaves us short of our goal of 4,500 to service the games in our state. Any support you and your organizations can provide to us to promote growing this number is more than appreciated. In addition to the appointments that were listed in the written report, very pleased to announce the appointment of Beth Lepore to a new position as Manager of Instruction and Mentoring. Position supports both the State Director of Instruction and the State Director of Mentoring. Appointment recognizes Beth's outstanding contributions to both programs, providing support for the growth and development of referees in the state. We, along with Mass Youth Soccer, are very proud of the Genesis Referee Program, which has been taken as a model by other states, but we also recognize that we could do better. We've taken your feedback, made significant changes to our internal procedures and staffing to better serve member organizations, most notably shown by the appointment of Ted Doucette as the Genesis Referee Program Manager. Ted has hit the ground running with improved communications and organization, and an eye to enhance this foundationally important program for our members and referees. The U.S. Soccer Federation has created a new mentor program, which the MSRC has embraced. Certification is designed specifically to provide consistent and meaningful on-field support and guidance to new referees. Certification courses are being offered this month in advance of the spring season, and we look forward to growing this program, which we believe will be key to the retention and development of quality referees to service our games at every level. MSRC has also recognized the challenges presented to organizations in administering discipline processes under USSF Policy 531-9, as well as local league and mass youth codes of conduct. These processes are highly dependent on the content and accuracy of submitted referee reports. To that end, MSRC has added a report writing module to our library of available recertification modules this spring, and it will be made a mandatory recertification module for referees and assigners for the next recertification cycle starting in July. Our mission is to service the game at every level through referee recruitment, retention, and development. We're always open to suggestions, critiques, and requests for assistance to grow the game together, provide our member organizations with qualified referees in partnership with Mass Youth Soccer and its members. And since David gave me the floor, I'm going to close with a personal note. It's been my honor to serve on the Mass Youth Board. And while I'm saddened to leave, I do believe in the concept of term limits and gaining new voices and perspectives. And I wish the best of luck to the new board members that will be selected later tonight. I hope to continue the many relationships that exist with the amazing people I've met through Mass Youth Board and staff members, representatives of the various member organizations. I appreciate the confidence shown by my appointment as SYRA and will do my best to support and contribute to the efforts of all involved while embracing and learning my new role. Back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Jeff. And thanks once again to both the MSRC and the entire referee community for their dedication and great work. Okay, now for the good stuff. I'll turn things over now to Rob Holliday, our Executive Director, for his report. A look back at our very successful 2025 and some exciting plans we have for 2026. Rob?
Thanks very much, Dave. I'll start by saying I'm not going to be able to cover everything that we do for Mass Youth Soccer. We are a small business in effect, but the mission is large and the membership is larger. So I apologize if there's anything that's missed out. It's not deliberate. And certainly I want to recognize everybody who's here on the call tonight for all of the contributions that you've made to create a great soccer environment. I'm going to start by thanking our incredible staff at Mass Youth Soccer. Over the next couple of minutes, I'll highlight some of their successes, but it's important to recognize that the dedication of our team to both serving the membership and the mission of Mass Youth Soccer. We support over 150,000 players and 25,000 registered adults each year, and it's largely due to their commitment and expertise that we're able to do so. Almost 3 years ago, the Mass Youth Soccer board and staff embarked on a strategic planning phase to define the future in the lead up to and in the wake of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. As part of that process, we simplified and redefined our mission to serve, educate, and provide safe play to all. We also created wildly important goals, focused on education, member services, technology, and facilities. In 2025, our technical staff empowered over 1,000 coaches to receive in-person US soccer coaching licenses. That was a 100% year-over-year increase on 2024. This increase can be attributed to significantly reduced pricing supported by the board of directors for grassroots licenses, a more proactive scheduling approach, and a requirement for coaches in the NECSL to hold an in-person coaching license. These contributing factors provide a great example of how improved standards, incentives, accessibility, and effective collaboration and partnership with key stakeholders can yield highly positive results at the local level. This is a culture and approach that US Soccer is modeling at the national level, and we are very supportive of at Mass Youth Soccer. Other significant wins from our wildly important goals in the past year include the successful installation of our lights on 5 turf fields at Progen Park and the rollout of the Dean Conway Grant Program, providing financial support for coach education and professional development to individuals from underrepresented communities. A fitting tribute to a wonderful gentleman. Another area we're experiencing significant growth in 2025 is community engagement. Last year, we hired our first or rearranged our staff so we could focus one full-time employee on community engagement, and we've added an additional employee in 2026 with the support of the Mass Youth Soccer Board of Directors. As a result, the Boston Soccer League continues to outpace forecasts and expectations, and we're also piloting soccer in schools programming this coming spring. Reducing volunteer and administrative burden through technology was another wig. The governance portal has already proven to be an invaluable resource to improve internal processes, and we are currently piloting and testing registration technology ready for summer 2027 statewide implementation. In soccer, it's important to celebrate the wins, but the truly great teams stay at the top of their game through continuous improvement and evolution. There are significant structural challenges in youth sports. David touched on the headwinds. These create barriers for children to play, and there is always more that can be done to provide better services, education, and support to our members that allow you to facilitate safer and more enjoyable playing environments. As you'll see at the upcoming World Cup, soccer is more than just a game. It's the world's greatest community builder, a vehicle for social development, and provides the opportunity for players to live in the moment and be free, something much needed during these times. On behalf of Mass Youth Soccer and the players that you serve, a sincere thank you to all of you who help create these opportunities. Please keep up the great work. As we talk of the World Cup, Mass Youth Soccer is excited to be taking to the road this summer. Thomas touched upon in his budget presentation that we have an allocation, and this is what the allocation is for. We're going to be bringing festivals across the state in collaboration with municipalities, 10 different municipalities in the Commonwealth. It will be a celebration of the global game, bringing together families from every nation to watch World Cup games, participate in fun soccer activities, and engage with their local communities. Our current schedule sees the roadshows kicking off in Pittsfield on June 11th, with stops at Barnstable, Northampton, Brockton, Fall River, Fitchburg, Lawrence, Worcester, New Bedford, and Leominster. All events are subject to final permitting approval, and we're expecting additional information to be presented to our membership in the coming weeks. We would really love to see you there and celebrate the World Cup with you. And finally, the spring season is almost upon us. Our technical staff will once again be out on the road for Coach Education Week. I believe we already have 6 or 7 set up, with more to be announced in the coming days. These are wonderful events that are free for all Mass Youth Soccer members. So please do visit the Mass Youth Soccer website for more information and provide the links to the coaching staff in your programs. We're also excited to host a weekend of adaptive soccer events on April 25th at Progym Park. This will include a pan-disability soccer clinic taking place on the Saturday in the middle of the Amputee Soccer Cup, which we're really excited to host. Another cool event we're excited to provide to the membership is the Scottish FA will be in town to provide some free education for all registered adults. The first one will take place on the opening day of the World Cup. So we're going to screen the opening game of the World Cup at Progym Park, and then shortly after there'll be a free education clinic that all are welcome to attend, provided by world-class educators from the Scottish FA. And the final comment I have is a request to all of you on the call here tonight who do lead coaching staff and programs, is please share the coaches preseason meeting video and the coach and referee cooperation videos that were recently distributed to you. The videos include all the important information to help your coaches focus on what is important for a successful youth soccer experience, as well as helping them to stay out of trouble. Thank you again. Wishing you all the best for the spring, and I look forward to seeing you out on the fields.
Thank you, Rob. So we have 2 matters on this evening's agenda for consideration by the membership. The first is to approve certain proposed changes to our Constitution, which is one of our principal governance documents. A little background on this. Following good corporate hygiene practices, our state office went through a comprehensive review of our current Constitution, and that review revealed that our programs, policies, and practices have evolved to a point where there are several disconnects and inconsistencies between how the current Constitution reads and how we actually do business. A description of these proposed changes is included in the presentation materials for this meeting, and with everything else are available on the Mass Youth Soccer website on the AGM page. The second item for membership consideration this evening is a request to approve a proposed capital expenditure of $300,000, which will be used to fund a portion of the installation of up to 6 mini pitches in Massachusetts, this being done in collaboration with the U.S. Soccer Foundation. Rob will talk more about this a bit later in tonight's program. So let me give you a quick overview of these proposed changes, which you can now see on the screen. The full text of the amendments are available in the AGM materials. There are some governance updates. We have a vestigial notion of territories and extraterritorial affiliation, which doesn't really apply anymore. So we want to get rid of that. We want to delete references that our rules of play will follow U.S. youth soccer rules. We don't. We follow IFAB and U.S. soccer. And finally, deleting the notion and requirement of state colors. Financial governance, we are asking the membership to increase the threshold requiring membership approval of proposed capital expenditures from 100,000 to 500,000. We need a clarification on representation of delegate representation at our membership meetings. Currently, our Constitution provides that one delegate may only represent and vote on behalf of a single member organization or affiliated league. We would like to exempt from that restriction representatives of the state office acting in that capacity under a properly given proxy from a member organization or affiliated league. A couple of administrative updates, changing references throughout from USSF to the Federation's preferred branding, which is US Soccer. In light of all of the changes that we are making here, there's some renumbering that needs to be done to the Constitution document. And finally, there is an old clause that requires that upon the association's dissolution, any assets remaining after satisfaction of all the association's liabilities and commitments are to be remitted to U.S. Youth Soccer. The Board of Directors is recommending your approval of these proposed amendments to our Constitution. And one point of clarification, if these are approved, then all of these amendments will take effect immediately following conclusion of tonight's AGM. So initially, I'm going to present amendment number 1, which concerns increasing the capital expenditures threshold requiring membership approval from 100,000 to 500,000. Due to its importance, this amendment is being presented in a standalone fashion. So just this amendment is being considered. Following this consideration of this amendment number 1, the rest of the proposed amendments will be considered en banc or together in the interest of time, unless there's an objection to that. So on the screen, you can see the current language of section 4.06 of our Constitution and how the proposed amendment would change that section. It's really just a change in the dollar threshold. The rationale for this proposed amendment from your board is available in the AGM materials. It's worth noting that this amendment represents the first adjustment to this threshold literally in decades. We believe it was initially set when Mass Youth Soccer was formed and was a fraction of the business that it is today. Also, for context, the current $100,000 cap amount was set over 50 years ago. The present value of that $100,000 number would be over $650,000 today. Increasing the CapEx threshold requiring membership approval to 500,000 continues our recent trend of modernizing our governance structure to match our current operational scale and the realities of contemporary construction and technology costs. This change will empower effective leadership while still preserving meaningful member oversight for truly significant investments. The result of approving this amendment will be more efficient operations, better stewardship of association resources, and an enhanced ability to serve the Commonwealth's youth soccer community. It has been moved by Mike Borislow, seconded by Dana Santilli to adopt amendment number 1. Is there any comment or discussion? Again, please use the Q&A function, and I will pause for a minute or so to see if anything comes across.
David, there is a question of how was the 500,000 threshold arrived at or chosen? That's coming from a couple of people.
Sure. Again, largely due to the fact that our association as a business, measured by whatever financial metric you care to use, is multiple times bigger than it was when this original threshold was adopted, which was in the mid 1970s. As I mentioned, the present value of that 100,000, if we had increased that threshold just with a CPI escalator over the years, it would be over $650,000 today. And recent experience with some of the capital expenditures that we've had to make over the last few years, particularly related to facility maintenance at SBLI Fields, puts us in a situation where literally if we needed to buy a piece of equipment to maintain the facility at Progen Park, we would have to call a meeting of the membership to get approval if it cost more than $100,000. And I can tell you it's very easy to spend $100,000 or $200,000 on the kinds of equipment that we need for maintaining our facilities. So it's really to bring us more in line from a financial standpoint to who we are today, the size we are today, and to catch this number up to where we believe it should be. As I mentioned, we still have oversight, we still have transparency. These things are budgeted, these things are fully vetted by your board, and we've now basically taken the decision that if we go over $500,000, which still given the scale of our business is not a huge number, that we would obviously, for those significant expenses, we would still come back to the membership for approval, but it will make us operate much more efficiently below that number if we can have that threshold increased. Any other questions? Okay, hearing no further discussion, the previous question has been moved. The question is on the adoption of amendment number 1 to the Constitution of Mass Youth Soccer. Adoption requires an affirmative vote of 2/3 of the voting interests of the delegates and authorized member representatives and the directors present at this meeting. And I'll now turn this over to Jamie, who will run the NEMO vote on the motion.
Thank you, David. We'll run one more quick test vote to ensure everyone is back online on NEMO vote. I will open the test vote shortly. One thing to note is once the vote is closed, you can find the results under the Actions tab, and then you can select Show Results, and you can see the results from there as well. I will open the test vote now. And a countdown from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The vote is now closed. And now that we have everyone back online, we'll now proceed with the vote on amendment number 1, increasing the capital expenditures threshold to $500,000. And I will open that vote now. I'll give you around 30 seconds and give you another countdown. All right, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The vote is now closed. And the vote results are 96.5% in favor and 1.4% opposed. The motion carries, and the proposed amendment number 1 to the Constitution of Massachusetts Youth Soccer, as presented to this meeting, is adopted and approved by the membership. I will now pass it back to David.
Thank you, Jamie. So, as I mentioned, in the interest of everyone's time tonight, I will present the amendments numbers 2 through 9 en banc or together. Again, the rationale for each of these proposed amendments, numbers 2 through 9, are available in the materials for the AGM on our website. On the screen here, you'll see a recap of these proposed amendments, including a quick summary of the rationale for each of them. I'm going to give everyone a minute or so just to review these. And if you have any questions as you're reviewing or when we open discussion on this, again, please feel free to drop those in the Q&A function. So I'm going to pause here for about a minute. Okay, if there is no objection, I request that by unanimous consent, we consider these 8 amendments together as a single motion. Is there any objection to considering the amendments together? If there is, please use the Q&A function, and I'll pause for about 10 or 15 seconds to see if there is an objection to considering these as a group. We're not voting on them now. We're just voting to or you're objecting if you don't want to consider them as a group, if you want to consider them one by one. Thank you. Seeing that there are no objections to considering them as a group, it has been moved by Andy Henderson and seconded by Lucy Tarquino to adopt amendments numbers 2 through 9 en banc. Is there any discussion on any of these amendments before we vote? Please use the Q&A function, and I will pause for about a minute. All right, hearing no further discussion, the previous question has been moved. The question is on the adoption of amendments numbers 1 through 9 to the Constitution of Massachusetts Youth Soccer. Adoption requires the affirmative vote of 2/3 of the voting interests of the delegates and authorized member representatives and the directors present at the meeting. I'll now turn this back over to Jamie to run the NEMO vote on the motion.
Thank you, David. The vote is now open, and it will remain open for 30 seconds. All right, and with another countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The vote is now closed. And the vote results are 96.5% in favor and 1.4% opposed. The motion carries, and the proposed amendments number 2 through 9 to the Constitution of Massachusetts Youth Soccer as presented to this meeting are adopted and approved by the membership. I'll now pass it back to David.
Thanks, Jamie. The remaining matter involves a request for membership approval of a proposed capital expenditure of $300,000 as required by Section 406 of the Association's Constitution. The request is for membership approval of a capital expenditure to fund, along with the U.S. Soccer Foundation, the installation of up to 6 mini pitches in Massachusetts. The state office has provided detailed information on this project prior to tonight's AGM through notices and videos, as well as on the Mass Youth Soccer website on the AGM page. The Board of Directors has approved the proposed mini pitches installation project and is recommending approval of the capital expenditures to fund this project. It has been moved by David Dalrymple and seconded by Thomas Ringler to adopt this to approve the proposed mini pitches installation project and the funding. To open discussion, I want to turn things back over to Rob for a very quick recap of the project details. Rob?
Thank you, David. I will go through these relatively quickly as there was a video distributed to our membership and leaders not too long ago. We are looking for $300,000 for 6 mini pitches. As David mentioned earlier, 1 in every 8 kids in Massachusetts is registered with Mass Youth Soccer. Those numbers are predominantly in the suburbs, where it's as many as 1 in 4 kids are registered with Mass Youth Soccer, but the numbers are significantly low in the city of Boston and the gateway cities across Massachusetts. We do have the best structures for volunteer soccer in the country, but those structures don't necessarily apply as well to inner city communities or underserved areas. So we're looking to be innovative in the way that we approach and connect with those communities and provide safe spaces to play. And mini pitches is one way that we think we can do that by using them as a community hub to engage in-school programming, after-school programming, and free play for community in a safe environment after any programming that would take place after schools. As you'll see on this slide, the percentages of players that participate in those cities are significantly lower. We looked at our membership numbers in addition to licensed coaches and licensed referees across the state in comparison with population figures, demographic and income figures for those cities as well. And we identified that there really was a need for additional resources in the gateway cities. The majority of the World Cup funding is going directly to the city of Boston. Most of the funding from the '94 World Cup went towards either investment in facilities or programming in the city of Boston as well. So we do feel it's important to share some of potential resources with other areas of the state as well. As you can see from these 6 cities that we've identified, they're all significantly lower than the average for licensed coaches, referees, and the percentage of players that are registered with Mass Youth Soccer. This slide shows where the mini pitch installations are likely to occur. So Mass Youth Soccer's goal are the red pins on this map. The existing foundation pitches are the yellow pins, so a couple in Boston, one in Peabody, one's down in New Bedford. And in addition to the 6 that Mass Youth Soccer is co-funding, there are going to be mini pitches that are co-funded by Boston 26, the local host organizing committee for the World Cup, and Project Goal in Rhode Island that you'll see in green. So our goal is, again, to support the whole state. We recognize that there are gaps around the I-91 Springfield corridor and on the Cape and Islands, and those would be high priority for any future capital investment, particularly for mini pitches. So we're going to move on to the vote. We genuinely appreciate your support. I think this could be an exceptional opportunity for us to expand opportunity for kids that live in some underserved areas across the state.
Thank you, Rob. If there is any other discussion, please use the Q&A function. I will pause for a few seconds, see if we get anything submitted.
Questions come in about where folks can find more detailed information. We're happy to share any of the data that we have for any of our communities. Most of it is publicly available, but we'll also be able to share our membership information as well from a demographics perspective.
Okay, hearing no further discussion, the previous question has been moved. The question is on the authorizing of a capital expenditure of $300,000 to fund the proposed mini pitches installation project. Under Section 406 of our association's constitution, adoption requires an affirmative vote of a majority of the voting interests of the delegates and authorized member representatives and the directors present at this meeting. Once again, I'll turn this over to Jamie to run the NEMO vote on this motion.
Thank you, David. The vote is now open and will remain open for 30 seconds. And with a quick correction, the last vote passed with 100% approval. All right, and the vote will close in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The vote is now closed. The vote results are 93.15% in favor and 2.05% opposed. The motion carries and the capital expenditure for the proposed mini pitches installation project as presented to this meeting are adopted and approved by the membership. Back to you, David.
Thank you, Jamie. On behalf of the board, I want to sincerely thank the membership for approving all of these matters for us tonight. All right, we're going to skip along to elections, selections and elections. As many of you know, our board is staggered. That is, we select 4 of our 16 directors every year for a 4-year term. Each year, one of our 4 executives, president, executive vice president, treasurer, and secretary, is elected. At this year's AGM, we will be selecting our Class A directors, including the election of our president, each for a 4-year term ending with the 2030 AGM. The candidates for these board positions have been submitted to and reviewed by the 2026 nominating committee to ensure that each candidate meets the eligibility requirements for service on our board including assuring that those candidates being nominated have a significant history of prior service to youth soccer and are able to fulfill all of the duties of a director. I'd like to take a quick moment to thank the committee members for the really great job they did this year in presenting this slate of candidates. Mike Borislow from our board, and who served as committee chair, Jason Smith from our board, Nadia Sussman from the Bays League, Tim Delaney from the Middlesex League, and Tom Parker from South Coast. Under our bylaws, individual candidates may self-nominate by following a clear process. There were no additional candidates who chose to self-nominate. And finally, our bylaws do not allow nominations at the meeting from the floor. As I mentioned earlier, two of our Class A incumbent at-large directors, Janet Gargan and Jeff Chambers, are terming out this year after many years of service to Mass Youth Soccer. The other incumbent at-large Class A director, John Ranone, is seeking re-election. In addition, Jose Isidro and Elizabeth Mustafosky, who henceforth will be known to us only as Liz Lima, are seeking election to an initial board term. And yours truly, your incumbent president, is seeking re-election to a second four-year term. The candidates' respective bios and candidacy statements and submissions have been posted on the Mass Youth Soccer website on the AGM page. I want to take a minute or two now to give Liz and Jose the opportunity to address the membership. And in the interest of time, the incumbent, John, is getting a pass on this. So I'd invite Liz off mute to say a few words ahead of voting. Liz?
Hi, everybody. My name is Liz Lima, and I'm honored to be running for an at-large director position with Massachusetts Youth Soccer. I grew up here in Massachusetts playing the game and was actually part of the ODP program starting at the age of 12, continuing through regional teams and U.S. Youth National Team camps. I went on to play Division I soccer at Harvard University and later played semi-professionally here in the U.S. as well as professionally played futsal abroad in Italy, where I met my husband, who was also a professional futsal player. For the past 2 decades, I've remained deeply involved in youth soccer as a coach, director, and within various leadership positions. I hold a USSF A license and have coached at nearly every level of the game, including town, high school, college, and primarily at the club level. I've coached ODP on and off now for nearly 20 years, worked with regional teams, and served with U.S. Soccer National Training Centers as both a staff member and scout, helping identify top talent for U.S. Soccer. Along the way, I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of incredibly young players, including Massachusetts natives and U.S. Women's National Team players Lily Reel and Ali Sentnor, whom I had the pleasure of coaching from the age of 5 through their youth careers. I've also had the privilege of serving in governance roles within the game, including vice president of the NEP League and for many years as a board member with the Maple organization, along with other volunteer board roles. Today, my work in the game has shifted more toward the strategic side, focusing on club leadership, facilities, and initiatives that help grow and strengthen youth soccer for the next generation. I'm the owner of South Shore Select Soccer Club and the South Shore Sports Center, both based in Hingham, Massachusetts, and I remain deeply committed to strengthening the youth soccer landscape in our state. I'm also passionate about bringing more women into the game and ensuring they stay involved, particularly in coaching and in leadership roles. My most important role is being a mom of 4, my daughter Ivy, who is 10, my twin girls Penny and Ruby, who are both 3, and our 6-month-old son Noah. My husband and I live in Hanover, Massachusetts, and are both deeply invested in the youth soccer community. Over the years, I've had the honor of working alongside and learning from so many incredible people within the Massachusetts youth soccer family, leaders like Mike Borislow, Bob Trudeau, Rob Holliday, and Tommy Geis, and some of the all-time greats, Ian Mulliner, Loy Urbina, Nancy Anderton, and Terry Filippetti. I love the mission of Massachusetts Youth Soccer, and it resonates deeply with my own lifelong mission of impacting young people through sport. If elected, I would be honored to bring a lifelong perspective on the game as a player, coach, parent, and leader, and work collaboratively with this board to continue strengthening and growing youth soccer across Massachusetts. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Liz. I'd now like to invite Jose Isidro off mute to say a few words ahead of voting. Jose?
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Jose Isidro. I'm seeking your support for the Allied Director position with Mass Youth Soccer. Over the past 30 plus years, I've been involved in the game as a coach, a referee, a parent. I've been a board member at town level, club level, and at the Essex County League also. Those experiences have given me a broader perspective of the challenges and opportunities facing our organizations and our players. I believe in strong governance, transparency, and collaboration so that local programs have the support they need to be successful. If elected, I'll bring a commitment to help Mass Youth Soccer continue to grow the game and serve the players and families across the state. Thank you for your consideration.
Thanks, Jose. So at this point, we will proceed with a vote to select each of John Renone, Jose Isidro, and Liz Lima as a Class A at-large director. We will vote on the slate as presented rather than conduct individual votes for each candidate. I have received a nomination of the slate from Sean Nabelli. Under Robert's rules and our governance documents, no motion or second is required for uncontested elections. And as this selection is conducted by electronic ballot, nominations are made, the ballot is conducted, and the vote is tallied. No formal motion to select a candidate is needed. The chair will simply announce the result. So I will now turn things over to Jamie to conduct the vote.
Thank you, David. The vote is now open. I'll give you 30 seconds again. Right, and a 10-second countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The vote is now closed. The vote results are 93.79% in favor. The slate of candidates for selection as Class A directors as presented to this meeting are selected by the membership. Back to you, David.
Thank you, Jamie, and congratulations, John, Jose, and Liz. At this point, let me turn things over to our EVP, Mike Borislow, for conducting the vote for election of our president. Mike?
Thank you, David. Just confirm you can hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Great. So I was given a brief script to read, of which I will stick to, except for this one line. Just a huge thank you to everybody that's on tonight and everything that you do for our kids. Back to the script. The matter before us is the vote to re-elect David Amadon as the president. I have received a nomination of Dave from Dave Bolos, and under Robert's Rules of Order, no motion or second is required for the uncontested election. As this selection is conducted by electronic ballot, nominations are made, the ballot is conducted, and the vote is tallied. No formal motion to select the candidate is needed, and the chair simply announces the results, which will actually be myself at this point. I will now turn things over to Jamie to conduct the vote and also provide the result.
Thank you, Mike. I will now open the vote and again leave it open for 30 seconds. The vote is now open. All right, and I'll just do a 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the vote is now closed. The vote results are 92.03% in favor. Dave Amidon is elected as president by the membership.
Great. Thank you, Jamie, and congratulations, David. Look forward to your continued leadership and stewardship. And back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Mike. So this is a responsibility that I don't take lightly. We've laid a strong foundation over the past few years, but there's more to do. Expanding access to the game in underserved communities, investing in coach education and referee development, and ensuring every young player in Massachusetts has a safe and welcoming place to play. I'm really energized by what's ahead, and I'm really grateful to be doing this good work alongside all of you. Is there any new business to come before the meeting? If so, please use the Q&A function. I'll pause for a few seconds to see if we get anything. Okay, hearing none, we're moving on. We have continued to build upon our recent successes in establishing and growing many wonderful sponsorships, and I'd like to turn things over once more to Rob to recognize our sponsors. Rob?
Thank you, Dave. Our sponsors are provided here on the slide in front of you. We're really appreciative of their support. Over the past few years, it's been an incredible opportunity for Mass Youth Soccer to diversify our revenue stream, but more importantly, to provide important resources, tools, and opportunity to our membership as well. So we're very grateful to have wonderful partners, the majority of which are headquartered in Massachusetts, and we're very appreciative of their continued support of our mission.
Thanks, Rob. So I'd like to open it up for anything anyone might have for good of the game. If you do, please use the Q&A function. Be succinct in submitting what you'd like us to read out for you. The office staff will present on your behalf. I'm going to leave this open for a minute or two to see if we get anything. And while we're waiting for you all, I'll start off with a couple of things. In 2025, 3 of our state office staff, Maureen LaRoche, Tommy Geis, and Otis Falvey, each reached a remarkable 15 years of dedicated service to Mass Youth Soccer, and we are incredibly grateful for their contributions to youth soccer in our state. Their commitment and expertise and passion for the game have helped shape countless young athletes' experiences, and we look forward to everything they will continue to bring to our organization in the years ahead. This year, we also celebrate and honor the extraordinary contributions of several retiring leaders from our member organizations, affiliated leagues, and state office staff, who also have dedicated years of service to youth soccer in our state. 2 of our affiliated leagues presidents, Melissa Mailing of Bays and Greg Kosoriak of Neshoba Valley, have stepped down from their leadership roles. Rich Frangillo has stepped down as the state referee administrator at MSRC. Peter Motzenbecker from the state office has moved on to be one of the club's, NEFC's, methodology director. Peter has been an important part of the Mass Youth Soccer technical department and remains very involved in many of our coach education activities. And as I've already mentioned, Janet Gargan and Jeff Chambers are stepping off our board at the conclusion of this AGM. The leadership, vision, and unwavering commitment each of these folks has given to the beautiful game and our association have left a lasting impact on players, families, and communities across the state. The foundation they have helped build will continue to shape the future of youth soccer for generations to come. We are deeply grateful for their service and wish them all the best in this well-deserved next chapter. As many of you might know, the Boston Legacy FC, our new entry in the National Women's Professional Soccer League, played their inaugural home opener last night at Gillette Stadium against the New Jersey, New York Gotham FC. Despite suffering a tough 1-0 loss, our team nonetheless set an NWSL all-time attendance record with over 30,000 fans in attendance at Gillette Stadium. And by all accounts, New Kids on the Block gave a great halftime show. Lily Real is an alumnus of Mass Youth Soccer, a former South Shore Select and ODP player who now plays for Gotham FC. Lily moved on from youth soccer to a stellar career in college at UCLA, earning first-team All-American honors twice and being named the Pac-12 or Big Ten Defender of the Year 3 times. She's begun her professional career in spectacular fashion, winning the 2025 NWSL Championship and being named both NWSL Rookie of the Year and the 2025 U.S. Soccer Young Female Player of the Year. And coming full circle, Lily didn't let last night's homecoming at Gillette distract her, controlling a long ball at midfield, making a great run to the corner, and sending in a cross that led to the game-winning goal. Finally, Harrison Bertos, who hails from Bedford, Mass., was a standout ODP defender and Brooks School alum. He played his club soccer with Seacoast United and MLS Next. In his youth career, Harrison was named an All-New England prep player and a United Soccer Coaches High School All-American. He's had an amazing start to his college career at University of Washington, where as a junior last fall, he was named All Big Ten First Team and won multiple Player of the Week honors. Notably, last fall, Harrison scored a dramatic 95th minute golden goal to seal University of Washington's winning in the NCAA Men's College Cup. I'd like to, on behalf of Carolyn Fiscato, pass along her congratulations to Boston Legacy FC for their inaugural game and the attendance record. From reading this, it looks like Caroline might have been there, and it was an amazing atmosphere. And she hopes everyone will be attending games and joining in the celebration of the women's game going forward. And she's thrilled also to share that Soccer Unity Project players were the player escorts for the walkout, bringing Boston City youth in to be part of this moment and celebrate urban play. Rob, anything from you?
Hot off the press, Leominster native Diego Fagundes is coming back to the New England Revolution.
That may help ticket sales.
So do 6-1 wins.
That's right. I will thank you everyone for that. And if there's anything else, please send it around to the state office and we'll get it out in one of our update emails that go out. So I'm pleased to announce that the 2027 annual general meeting of Mass Youth Soccer will be held in person next year in early March. The exact date, time, and venue will be announced later this year, and I look forward to seeing all of you and more of you there. And with that, and there being no other business to come before our association today, I declare this 2026 annual general meeting of Massachusetts Youth Soccer Association adjourned at 8:31 p.m. We wish all of our membership a safe and thoroughly enjoyable spring season, and we look forward to seeing you all on the pitch as soon as the rest of the snow melts. Good evening, everyone.